Today we're going to be reviewing Mortal Kombat 2. So Mortal Kombat 2 sees Outworld preparing for Mortal Kombat as they have enough fighters to win so that way that they can finally invade Earthland. Meanwhile, in Earthland, they finally find Johnny Cage in Hollywood, and apparently he is a washed actor in Hollywood, so they recruit him into Mortal Kombat, but once he finds out what Mortal Kombat really is, he quits. Unfortunately, he's dragged into it anyway, and after losing the first fight, he can't rejoin the tournament, so now he has to find a different way to help them protect Earth from Mortal Kombat so that way they can win and Earthland doesn't get invaded by the Outworld, led by Shao Kahn. So, I'm going to go ahead and say that I wasn't really as ready with the Mortal Kombat franchise. Let's rewind it back a little bit. So, when I found out that they were making a Mortal Kombat movie, I wanted a Mortal Kombat movie in the middle of the 2010s. And this was announced in 2019, which was the end of the 2010s. We were going into the 2020s at that time. And although I was interested now, at that time, I just didn't have that in me anymore. I had other video game franchises that I wanted as movies, and Mortal Kombat, sadly, wasn't one of them. But because of the realistic directions that these video game movies were going in. So I knew that if a Mortal Kombat movie came out in that time, they were going to try to be faithful to the source material while still doing their own thing, because that's what video game adaptations have been. They basically do their own story and then slap the name on it and think that it's okay. But that started to change from 2018, 2019-ish. So they were getting there, but they were still on that road. So when COVID happened and the movie came out, I finally watched it, but it was long after the hype died down, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. So when the sequel was announced, I went and did some researches so that I could be really prepared for the sequel, but then I realized that I'm preparing for a sequel. That means I shouldn't be researching, I should be watching the movie before it. The Mortal Kombat movie that I watched, that back then, I didn't care about that time. So, I was so dedicated to preparing for watching the movie that from Sunday to next Friday, or I guess from Sunday to that Friday, I was watching Mortal Kombat 1 over and over again each day, just to prepare, so that I know what to expect when going into the sequel. And now you guys basically understand how committed I was to watching and getting ready for the sequel, because back then I wasn't interested, and now I was interested. So, just like in the first movie, we open with a fight that has nothing to do with the tournament, but has a lot to do with the story itself. And it's Shao Kahn fighting King Jared. And he was going to win with a broken sword because the sword was broken, but he still did some damage. But Shao Kahn had that last minute strength. He gave off that impression that it was going to be an easy fight, but as soon as his life was on the line, he got serious, and then he killed the king and became the king of that part of the world. And then we are introduced to Kitana, who is the daughter of the king that he killed, and adopted her as his daughter, and had a servant that would serve her as her bodyguard named Jade. And now they're preparing for this Mortal Kombat. And we soon find out that Johnny Cage was in his prime around that time when he was a movie star. But now, into the present, there are no fans. He's in an expo or a convention, whichever one whichever one you guys know more on. And no one is coming to his booth. No one's buying his merch. No one is screaming for it out of excitement. And then suddenly when he goes to go home, a lightning portal opens and it's Raiden and Sonya. He goes in, he sees the fighters from the last movie, he finds out what the tournament is really about, and then he dips out and they go on without him. I did like this whole part because this is for those who didn't know and just went in blind. We were introduced to a character named Cole Young, and his character arc throughout the entirety of the movie was actually really great. I understand why people didn't like Cole Young as a character, as a main character, with the main point of it all being that basically he was an original character made for the movie, and they didn't like that. No one liked it, so the directors decided to make him a side character and replace him with Johnny Cage. So Johnny Cage is the main character of the movie now. Alright, so when the tournament starts, when the tournament starts, Johnny goes to his first fight, and he goes and fights Kitana. He loses, and now he can't be in the tournament anymore. He isn't killed, but he can't be in the tournament anymore. And then there's another fight, which is between Cole and Shao. And the other fight is also is with Jax and Jade. And this is where I just want to go ahead and say what happened really ticked me off. I'll explain it more, but I'll explain it for as much as I can for this segment. Cole, the now side character, lost the fight and died. He lost the fight and died. And this is just, I just didn't like it. Like, it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I didn't like the direction that they were going in. This is when directors find out something bad happened when they went their own direction and wanted to correct it. But the way they corrected it was by killing off the character, when they could have just made him a side character. That's what they were doing when they reintroduced him in the movie. He played no actual focus in the film, so killing him off made no real sense. Johnny was the main character now, so they didn't have to do that, but they did, and it was bull crap. So the fights in the movie were actually really great. There was one where they actually made it as if we were watching a game unfold, and I did actually really like it. So Kong comes back to life, and so does Kano, and they're preparing more fights for the tournament. Kano gets a new eye from the help of the Necromancer, and Kong fights his cousin Liu, and in order to save him, he killed him again so that he wouldn't have to fight anymore. And they find out that Cole didn't come back. He lost the fight and he died. And what Kong did made it to where Raiden was on death's door. So they had to find a way to destroy the amulet that was giving Shao Kahn the ability to be immortal. So they go to the realm so that they can meet the master of this village that goes by the name of Baraka. And a fight between those two, between Johnny Cage and Baraka, happens. And I'm just going to go ahead and say that I actually did like that fight. It was actually a really good fight. It kind of reminds me of the first fight Johnny Cage had in one of the games. I don't remember it, but I do believe that whoever's watching this review, I do believe you guys know which game it is. It's the one where it opens with most of the characters dead, and Raiden is fighting Shao, and he uses the amulet to turn back time to fix what happened. And we follow Johnny Cage, and I believe he was fighting Baraka in the beginning in one of his first fights. It was either Baraka or Reptile. The point is, this fight alone reminded me of exactly that. And there's kind of like this buddy thing that's going on. Like, after he beats him, Baraka is like super obsessed with Johnny Cage. And I do love how he finds his own he finds his own motivation to keep fighting. Even though he's not in the tournament anymore, he has his own motivation to fight now. He has a reason to actually fight and help them defend Earthland, especially after losing. And he uses his movie action wit to win the fight. And when they enter the dungeon, when they enter the temple, so that they can have a chance at fighting, winning the tournament, and saving Raiden, Shao comes in and he kills Jax and Liu. When I first saw the movie, I thought Liu didn't really die because he turned into a dragon and then he flew away. But apparently, no, he did actually die. But Jax did die. And now, after this, Johnny meets up with Kano, and then Kano betrays them. I didn't like that he became a bad guy in the first movie, but it made sense when I researched his character before rewatching the movie again. So, I didn't like it, and I didn't like that he got killed off in the first movie, but I like that he came back and he actually is helping the heroes. So, the film goes between two finales, just like the first one. And the first one is Johnny and Kano teaming up so that they can get Scorpion, so that they can get the amulet, so that they can break it and save Raiden. But the three of them has to fight a resurrected Sub-Zero, and I might be wrong, but it seemed like at first they mixed they mixed Sub-Zero with Noob Saibot. I want to call him Saibot because calling him Noob makes no sense to me. So Saibot, I thought they were mixing the characters up, but no, they're two individual characters. They're still two different characters. So it was a 3v2, and I did actually really like Johnny's development in the final act. He didn't have any powers. He didn't have a way to really win the fight, but he finally found that center in him. I do believe he did unlock his Arcana, but not officially. Like, he has an idea of what an Arcana is, and he unlocked a portion of it, but I think it's going to be covered up in the third film. The other one sees Sonya and Kitana fighting off with Zhao, and Sonya does in fact lose, but Kitana wins, and she reclaims her home and becomes queen of her world, and the tournament's over. Earthland wins, Outworld loses, and they don't get to take over Earth. And the movie ends with an ending narration to Baraka and his people, or at least a campfire with a few of his people, where he's twisting words that Raiden says and is using it for him. And Raiden and Sonya comes in, and what's left of the roster of characters that help Johnny and the others save Earthland and Raiden's life, they go back. They are preparing to save everyone. They're using the Necromancer so that they can bring everyone who died during the preparations and the actual tournament of the movie. And that's how the movie ends. So now the third movie is just about bringing everybody back who died. And I actually really like that one. That was a really good movie. I love the movie, the sequel, more than the original. The original is a good revisit to what we're getting in this version of this universe and the story, but the sequel perfectly captures Mortal Kombat as a movie on the big screen, because you're getting the cinematography from the games, from its cutscenes, and from the gameplay, and you're getting like an upgrade of it in the sequel. You're introducing a lot of characters. It seemed like before there was a problem with having too many characters in a movie, but both the first and second movie shows that you can make a movie with a large cast of characters without it being a problem. And with how many characters were left at the end of the movie, it doubles the proof of that question, of that concern. And I do like that Kano, like I said, I do like that Kano is helping the good guys. But something's telling me he's going to betray them again, and this time there's not going to be a second chance, because it seems like Sonya seems more interested in killing Kano again than saving everyone else. She cares about saving everyone and bringing them back from the dead, but it's just that it seems like she wants to kill Kano right after this is over, and the look on his face says it all. Like, he doesn't like it, but he's accepting it. I mean, it doesn't seem like he wants it, but it's like there's no way out of it. Like, he's just gonna accept that might actually happen at some point. So I do really like how the movie goes in all the way. The movie also has this end credit scene where they play the game's theme song from the original, and they tell the characters from what they're playing. You know, the movie also did Cole a little dirty, because he's nowhere to be seen in the title sequence. Like, there's no title sequence in there, which kind of goes to show how determined the fans and audiences and directors of the film wanted to correct their mistake of making Cole the main character. Like I said, they could have made him the side character. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I love that it was stupid fun. It was turn your brain off kind of fun movie. And I did have some questions in the movie, but it didn't stop me from enjoying the movie overall. And I can't really say that it was a bad movie. The only problem I have this time was that they killed off Cole. They didn't have to do that. They could have just made him the side character. In fact, that's what they were doing. So they either should have done that or just removed him from the movie entirely. Found a way for him to not be in the movie and at least have him come in the final act or something. But all in all, I still enjoyed the movie. Here's my rating. I'm going to give the story a 9 out of 10, and the reason why it's at a 9 out of 10 and no longer higher than 10 despite how much I praised it and love it, it's because they killed off Cole. All they had to do was just put him in as a side character, have him little to do while still being a really good fighter in the entirety of the film, or just have him find a reason for him to not be in the entire movie, only for him to come back in the final act or something. They didn't have to kill him off. They had Johnny. He was going to be the main character of the franchise, or at least in the sequel, but it's going to definitely be the franchise, so there was no need to do that. But at least he's coming back in the third movie, I hope. And then for the movie, it's going to be a 10 out of 10. It was dumb fun. It was an amazing film. It was an enjoyable film. It was stupidly good, but it wasn't a bad film.